Hey guys, it's Nick, and Hertz just came out with their earnings today, so I want to do a video about that, looking at their numbers, and to get an idea of how well or how bad they're doing, I want to do a real simplified comparison with Avis, so a real apples to apples comparison so you can get a good idea of how they are performing. And one other thing is that the CEO of Hertz said that they are going to do a Re IPO. Now, I've never heard of that. I had to look up what that means. So I'm also going to talk about what that means and what that will mean for stockholders. So first, let's look at the Hertz earnings report. Total revenues, $1.9 billion, up 62% from the first quarter of 2021. They had a net loss of $168 million, but that includes $633 million of reorganization expenses. So if they didn't have that, their profit would be like $465 million or something like that. And here it says the company anticipates a re-IPO, which includes hosting an investor roadshow and relisting on a major exchange by year-end 2021. I'll talk about that later. So let's look at their second quarter revenue, and they go back 2 more years, so you could see pre-pandemic numbers as well. So 1.643 billion. Last year was only 543 million, and the year before that was 1.8 billion. So they're almost back to pre-pandemic levels, even though they have actually less cars in their fleet. So here, the average vehicles they had in this second quarter was 350,000. While in 2019, the same quarter, they had 575,000 cars. So they're making a lot more money per car. And their vehicle utilization is 78%, where it was just 28% in the same quarter last year and 81% in normal times. And the revenue per day, this means how much they get per car in renting it out for one day on average over their whole fleet, is $65.42. Whereas in 2020, same quarter was $37.95, and in 2019, the same quarter was only $42.71. So this is the effect of the semiconductor shortage on prices of used cars that is affecting the rental prices that you see. They're up about 50% from normal times. So this is not going to last forever, these good times that they're having this summer. So keep that in mind when you're holding Hertz stock. And here you see again, this is the total revenue per month per car. So that's $1,557. Last year was $325, and in normal times it's only $1,054. So again, they're up like 50% from normal times. Now those numbers were the Americas. They also break down the international numbers. 230 versus 125 versus 495 in a really good year. And their vehicles were only 71,000 versus 166,000 in 2019. And their utilization is about the same as it was in 2019. So they're back up there, but they don't have as many vehicles. So that's why they have less revenue in international rentals. And their revenue per day is not 50% higher like it is in the Americas. It's very similar to the 2019 numbers, 47 versus 46 almost. And their revenue per month is about the same as in 2019. So Avis Budget Group reported a few days ago, and they had a net income of $398 million on $2.4 billion in sales. But it's hard to compare that to Hertz when you don't know how many cars and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of did a chart of the two of them side by side of their kind of key metrics. So let's take a look at that. So here is Hertz versus Avis. Hertz 1.873 billion, Avis 2.371 billion net income. Hertz lost $168 million, like I said, because they had $633 million in reorg charges. Avis made $398 million. Now their cars, Hertz has 421,000 on average. That doesn't mean they have this every day of the quarter. Same with Avis, it's an average. So all of these numbers are kind of back of the envelope average numbers. So let's take a look. If you take Hertz revenue and divide it by the number of cars they had on average, their revenue per car, meaning their sales per car, is 4,447. Likewise with Avis, their number is 4,654. And if you take the Avis profit, 398 million, and divide by the number of cars, 509,000, you come up with a profit per car of $781 in the second quarter. Whereas Hertz, obviously they have a loss, so there is no so-called profit per car. But if you took away that 633 million in reorg charges and took that out, their profit would be what, 465 million, something like that. So I did a profit per car for this as well. So I took the 465 million divided by the 421,000 cars, and their profit per car would be like $1,100. Their revenue days are pretty similar. This is the total number of cars they have rented out per day. So all the average cars times all the rental days they have, and these numbers are in thousands. So this is 29,885,000, and this is 33 million. So this is the average revenue per day, and this is a blended average between the Americas and international. And so Hertz has $59 per day in revenue per car. Avis has $70 per day in revenue per car. And the utilization rate of their fleet is 78% for Hertz and 71% for Avis. Now their fleet costs per month per car, Hertz is $278, and this number comes from a combine of their depreciation costs and everything that they have, their expenses. This is the number they put together. Avis is different at $216. So I'm not exactly sure if these are apple to apple comparisons, but it's in this ballpark. So basically what this means is each one of their cars cost about $278 or $216 a month in expense that they have to pay out, and they get back about $1,100 in profit on that, or $781 in profit on that. So pretty good for these summer months. Now that's not going to last forever. After this next quarter, things are going to get back to a more normal pace, most likely, especially if the price of used cars go down and less people are on vacation in the fall, obviously. So these good times are not going to last forever. So if you are a long-time holder of Hertz, these numbers don't really matter. But if you are somebody that's looking to hold for a few months or whatever, you should probably be thinking of selling before the next earnings report, because that's going to be the best one, and then it's going to be bad for the next, until the next summer. So always try to go out on the top if you have a shorter time frame. So as for the part about the Re IPO, what does that mean? Basically, it means they want to get off the pink sheets and get onto the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. And they are going to do a roadshow like they normally do with IPOs to get mutual fund managers, hedge fund managers interested in buying into Hertz, possibly. So it will give them the kind of air of respectability. But what is strange is that from what I remember reading, it seemed like this pink sheet listing was going to be temporary when they came back to market and out of bankruptcy. And now a few months on, and they're still here on the pink sheets and not on a regular exchange. So in their earnings report, they said they hope to do this before the end of 2021, so probably in the next 3 months. But I was expecting that this was going to happen within the first few weeks of them coming out of bankruptcy. So I don't know what's holding it up, but it's not going to make a big difference from the stockholders' perspective. The only difference is it will be on now a legit exchange like a NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. And so the reason for the roadshow is that investment companies, mutual funds are not going to buy most stocks on the pink sheets. But once they go to an exchange, then they will be interested in it. So they're kind of going to go out there and push it to these mutual funds, hedge funds, and that kind of thing, that they're going to be on an exchange soon. And so it will be kind of investable from the perspective of a large mutual fund or something like that. So guys, that's a look at Hertz earnings and what a Re IPO is. I didn't even know such a thing existed. And that's a comparison for Avis rental car to Hertz. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.